Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Wake Up Later with Sonia Poulton. And guess I am in the heart of London, actually, West London, W2. I hope you are doing beautifully well today. I truly do. I'm going to be, well, I am. I'm broadcasting live from Bob Moran's art exhibition, Paradigms. And I'm just sat next to Paddington, who I just found on this bench. And I hope you're all well. I love doing outside broadcasts, as many of you know, enjoy it very, very much. One of the things that I very much miss about being a journalist is when you are sort of studio bound, but it's wonderful to be here with you. And I hope that I can see your comments. Let me just check if I've got some comments that I can see. Right, let's have a look. Let's have a little looky. I can see comments. Evening. You've got me. Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. So what is going on in our world right now? Of course, many of you will have seen what happened in Liverpool this week on Monday. Awful. The parade. Live, laugh, slay. Got it. Wonderful. Obviously, you saw it. The wonderful parade, the victory parade, absolutely marred by that guy, allegedly 53 years old, we're told, who appeared to use a vehicle as a weapon against people. We don't know yet what's happening. We understand that he's been charged with attempted murder and being under the influence. But they're really holding on to the information right now, which they always do, of course. And I just have to say that I do understand why they felt the need to release information, by the way. It's obviously they don't want a repeat of what happened with Southport. But it is problematic for some people because it's like, oh, I see. So it works that way for those people. It doesn't for those people. So I get it. I absolutely get it. And what else? Well, obviously, Tommy Robinson, he was released yesterday. And can I just say the response to Rachel Bradford joined us on Wake Up on Monday. Let me just turn that around a little bit so I can get a better screen. Rachel Bradford joined us on the show on Monday. Obviously, she's sick. She was diagnosed with something that I can't even begin to pronounce at 24 weeks. And honestly, I have to say that you, our viewers, you literally are the best of humanity. The amount of offers to help her, free help from experts, has just been absolutely tremendous. And you did this before with little Sophie Hughes. You are a phenomenal audience, and I'm so grateful to have you in my corner. I truly am. And did anybody see the conversation with Charlie Faulkner? Charlie Faulkner used to be Tony Blair's flatmate. And Charlie Faulkner is head of a kind of a drugs advisory board, and they are now advising on the decriminalisation of cannabis possession, not if you're selling, just on possession. And I heard it's what he had to say about it, and I actually disagree with him. I believe that it should be to decriminalise full stop. And I'm talking about the natural herb variety. And it seems fairly outrageous to me. And there was all manner of justification about why only decriminalise people in possession. But the problem is of course, is it opens it up to big business, doesn't it? We know that if you are allowed to possess it, but you're not allowed to sell it, then who is allowed to sell it? It'll be their mates, won't it? Just like it has been prior. So I hope you are well on this glorious day. I have pretty much no idea what's going on here, but it's absolutely fine. I just had a little sneak peek at Bob's exhibition before we gone live, and it's hello Paddington. It's so funny to be down here, really, because I spent a lot of my 20s living in this area. It's just off of Marble Arch. It's near where they call Tyburnian, where they used to hang people. Lisa, it is an amazing medicine if used correctly. Absolutely it is. And obviously what we've seen over the last few years is very, it's concerning, because what we've actually seen is very wealthy people who are using it and are able to use it in ways for their, for corporate business and globalization. I just saw a comment there saying, love you, Sonia, but your support of Tommy Robinson is concerning. What support would that be? Exactly. My note on Tommy Robinson was that he came out of prison yesterday. He met up with his mate, and then he went pretty much straight into time with Rebel News. Well, those are all Zionists, aren't they? And obviously, I don't support that one jot, not one jot. The only thing that I supported about Tommy Robinson is the fact that I do actually believe that he was a political prisoner. And I think that it's interesting that they've decided to charge him yet again. Very concerning in that respect. And it should be one rule for everybody. It doesn't matter what I think about people, whether I like somebody or not. The law of the land should apply equally to everybody. And oftentimes I feel it doesn't actually to him, in all fairness. I don't. So there you go. Just an answer to your question there. Let me just see if I can pick up any more comments before I go into the gallery. Marco says it amazes me that a natural plant can be made illegal. It's hilarious, isn't it? How dare they? Yes, Brett. He did, didn't he? What were they calling him? Robinson Crusoe or something? Tommy Robinson Crusoe. And the crucifix, obviously, and the Marga cap and all that sort of stuff. Right, we are going to head down towards Bob's gallery now. I can see Tanya Edwards there. And yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Walk with me, people. Walk with me. Right, here we go. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to put it in the background. You'll be able to see it from the background. There we go. Oh, there we go. There you go. There we go. There we go. There you go. There you go. You can, if I get it at the right angle. There you go. That is the gallery. And you can see something. You're going to see some beautiful, incredible stuff inside. Yes, you absolutely are. Stay with me. Let's do this. Let's go on in. And here we are. And here is the man himself. Here's Bob Moran, everybody. There you go. Hello, Bob. Bob, your exhibition, phenomenal. You're going to show me around, aren't you? Right. Okay. Well, let's start. Let's start having a good conversation about some of Bob's work. Some of it I haven't actually seen before. No. So is there quite a lot of new stuff here?
There's some new stuff. Some's quite recent. Some of it's only a few weeks old. Some of it is going back to 2022. There are a few things I did, especially for the exhibition, that people can only see here.
Right.
Yeah.
Start walking around, shall we? This one over here immediately attracts me. Have a look at this, peeps. Look at this. Phenomenal. I mean, Bob, I don't need to tell you this again. Bob knows I'm a major fan of his work because I think Bob is one of the few people who has actually been able to depict accurately what has been going on, at least over the last 5 years, and paid heavily for it, as we know. Bob, what's this picture telling us?
This is called monumental distortion. And it's an idea. I actually had this idea a while ago, and it kind of I needed to think about it for a while. I suppose it's to do with the illusion of liberty, what people think of as what constitutes as freedom that are actually trapping them. So this is kind of a take on the Statue of Liberty as a sort of pornographic, slightly fake lady. And instead of holding a torch, she's holding up the phone, taking a selfie, and sitting on this. She's got this ball and chain, and the ball is made up of all the things that Americans, but many other people are basically addicted to, which trap them and stop them being free.
It's a phenomenal statement, isn't it, on the state of play, really, in our life, that you would, well, sort of mash together. And actually, let me take you closer here. You can actually see the detail here. Look at that. Look at that. Bird flu. And Make America Great Again. Look at that. It's all trapped underneath it. And is that fluoxetine?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, exactly. And the jab, obviously. And the thing is that they say the devil is in the detail. But Bob, your detail is always phenomenal. Look, they've got the Pornhub, Bud Light, everything. All quite controversial. Obviously, Pornhub is almost in danger of being shut down now because of the phenomenal work of campaigners, and they found so many children on there. Yeah. And obviously Bud Light, that was the whole thing. That was really kind of it was like what was the name of that guy? Oh, what was the name of that guy? Yes, that's Dylan Mulvaney. That's right, Dylan Mulvaney, who does like how many days of being a woman. Actually, you can't possibly have had one day of being a woman because you're a man. But I think that is actually stunning. And if you look at that detail, the way that the selfie is taking place there, Bob, is it because as well as I do that the people that follow my work, your work, they'll also be looking for stuff that you won't necessarily acknowledge. They'll be looking for hidden details, hidden messages.
Thing. So obviously lots of these pictures have been seen many times all over the world, but online, as people are scrolling through, And I do put lots of detail into some of them, and lots of people have come in and said it's not until you're looking at the original picture in the frame on the wall that you spot some of these details.
Right, exactly.
I know that everyone's going to look at all the detail, because the whole point of my work is it has a very quick impact, and people see it, they get it, they laugh. But it's nice because I do work quite hard on some of this detail.
You do.
So if people don't notice it all.
I mean, clearly you work quite hard on this detail, absolutely, and you're an artist, and you want that to be acknowledged. And what artist doesn't? But it is. I mean, it's so even down to the detail of look at the inflated lips as well. Again, a real sign of our times.
Yeah.
What's going on?
What's interesting is so originally I tried to make her really quite hideous looking and really fake, and I thought, well, maybe if I can get the balance right, people might find her quite attractive but feel guilty about it. And there's so many men have come in here and said, oh yeah, I'd like to buy that because
It looks erotic.
See her,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you're not really meant to.
Martin says, I like tits. Who doesn't?
Yes. Yes. I should have maybe drawn more massive tits.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sure it's something for you to pick up next time. No, I think they're perfectly in proportion, actually. And in fact, she looks inflated. That's the thing. So yeah, really powerful image. Let's look. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen this. I don't think I've seen this. Look at this. Look at that. Of course, you all know who that is. That is, of course, Donald Trump. Look at that claptrap. Trump, Vance, make America healthy again. Almost with a hand over it, actually, as if it's hiding it. I mean, this is fairly self-explanatory, isn't it? Was there a particular period that inspired you to do this, Bob?
This is just where we are right now, I suppose, with Trump having been in for a long time and not really done much to address the properly urgent issues, like the jabs. And I really, in my personal view, is that Trump is a trap for us, for the people who think of themselves as being aware of what's going on. I think he's there to lure us into a false sense of security and essentially sell us a lot of the shit we've been opposing for the last few years. But what I like about this as well, this is a kind of nerdy cartoonist thing. When you can figure out a way of making a character recognizable by removing quite a lot, as in how much can you reduce someone, still have it. So, and I realized, well, you can actually take Donald Trump's entire head away and people still immediately know who it is if you have the tie and he's doing the dance moves. And I really like things.
And that is, I'm going to just turn you around again just so I can see some of these comments. Yeah. Yes, the Trump trap. I like it. Yes, indeed. And the thing is, even down, if you look, peeps, right, even down to the way he's holding his hand is absolutely Trump. And this, I think this is where you excel, because you seem to have an eye to be able to zone in, don't you, of what makes a person a particular person.
Yeah, I do. I do really notice little gestures and the way people carry themselves. And I suppose sometimes people who know me get a bit nervous because sometimes I fear they can see me analysing them and, their faces and things like that.
You've always been like this, Bob.
I have always been like
that. Have you? Even as a child, were you like this?
I was always drawing, but I was always drawing funny pictures. And, my parents have hundreds of drawings I did of them and my grandparents and family. And then all through school, I drew my teachers. Got into quite a lot of trouble at school for it. Yeah, that's what I've always done. But I was never political, that came later.
Oh, how interesting. So now this is never political. This is obviously religious. Is this God having enough of us?
Yeah, it's God face palming. And this is obviously, this is based on the people probably know the face palm meme, which is Patrick Stewart as Captain Picard, and it gets shared all the time. I thought it'd be fun to create a version of that, but with God. I mean, whenever I've thought of how God might be responding over the last few years, this is what I picture. And I released it on Palm Sunday because it just fits it. The title is Palm Sunday.
I mean, you don't mind controversy, do you, Bob? I remember what happened. I mean, you do. A lot of your stuff is obviously controversial. As we know, Bob has been, cancelled. He's had his show pulled. All manner of things have happened. Where was the one that, very hot here, there was one which was down in Houston King's Cross area. Didn't they pull one? Right. So my daughter and I came and watched you there.
And they went ahead. They were a great success. We sold out. It went really well. It was great fun. Everyone loved it, including lots of normie people, friends, family who never seen my work and thought we were mad, and then they actually came away and said to me afterwards, "Oh, I suddenly realised what you people have been banging on about." So that was great. And then after that, we had another theatre booked in Newcastle. They cancelled it. Once they cancelled it, no other theatres would really speak to us. So it was a real shame, because obviously the intention was to do a bit of a tour and take it around the country. But it was such a lot of work, and it's not easy putting on a show like that. And once you get into that thing of not being able to get a venue, it's time and energy. And really, at a certain point, I have to get back to drawing, because that's what people want me to do.
Yeah.
Produce new cartoons. Now so much time has passed, of course, that show would need to be almost completely rewritten, because so many of the characters I talk about have disappeared, have moved on, and
Really?
different things are happening.
Wow.
You know, you think of the politicians. Trudeau's gone now.
True.
Jacinda Ardern's gone. They're shuffling them all off the stage, aren't they?
Yes, indeed.
So I might do another one, but it'll be a different show.
Do we have any of somebody sent a message earlier about the Macrons, and I don't know if you saw that, and
Yes.
the famous Macrons and that punch.
Yes. Now, obviously, I've been here, so I haven't done one on that.
Right.
It only happened the other day. I haven't done that many of Macron. He is over here in the boat.
Oh, let's have a look at that. I just dropped something on the floor, but that's all right. Let's have a look at that. Oh, what do we have here? Oh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So what we obviously, I think I can probably talk through this myself to a certain degree. Sorry about the funky camera work, everybody. You know, it's like on the hoof for live streaming. But look, so what we have, of course, is Justin Trudeau, who infamously did blackface. Repugnant creature, and obviously there's Netanyahu, another repugnant creature, and Jacinda Ardern, of course. And again, Bob captured probably, but most obviously by her teeth, obviously.
Yeah, I think that's the first time I drew her. Actually, this is from 2022, so I think that was my first caricature of her.
And then, of course, there is Boris Johnson puking out. Who's this one? This looks like. Wait, who's that?
That's Biden.
Oh, that's right.
There's Biden.
And that's, of course, Zelensky.
Yeah, and then Macron steering as Napoleon.
And Smuggler's Cove, because I have seen that one before.
Yeah,
I have,
that's
definitely.
the main one.
I mean, the thing is, Bob, I mean, we talked about this before, haven't we? And that is, it was just like a blessing in many respects, what happened with you and what happened at the Telegraph. And
well, yes,
they failed you. And now you were able to go off out into the wilderness on your own. And it's worked beautifully, hasn't it?
It was a great thing. And even at the time, although it was unpleasant and frightening losing my job like that, I did feel like, well, this is probably meant to be, and I should just take the opportunity to be entirely independent. And I had all these things I wanted to say that I hadn't been able to say, and they were all bottled up. So, I mean, in 2022, after I'd lost my job at the Telegraph, I look back now and I can't believe how much work I produced that year, because it was all just coming out of me, you know.
Was it suppressed?
Yeah, it had all been suppressed.
Right. So because I mean, I don't know what the situation was at the Telegraph, but did you have to go through an editor before anything got?
Yeah, everything has to be agreed by the editors. But also, you know, people don't really understand this. Even cartoons in newspapers, there are limits to what you can or can't say.
Right.
There's a line you can't cross.
Right.
And it's as controlled as everything else.
Right.
Now, as the counterbalance to that ought to be that on the other side, there's a limit to what the politicians can do to us. And I suddenly realized, oh no, it turns out there's no limit to what they can do to us, how many freedoms they can take away. Therefore, as a satirist, you need to be able to up your game in response. And I was so frustrated because I wasn't. I still had to produce the same kind of gentle wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I thought I need to.
I mean, you're not even made for that.
No, I'm not. No, I mean, I was happy to do it at the Telegraph, and it worked really well for that time. But, you know, the thing is, before that, I'd never felt particularly passionate about the stories I was covering.
Right.
Whereas in 2020, suddenly I felt really strongly, and I really thought, you know, if I don't say this stuff through cartoons, no one else is going to, because all the other cartoonists just gave up and supported the narrative.
I know, it's pathetic. No, I mean, the thing is, you were brave, and I think you are an absolute example of when bravery wins, because people got behind you. You took that leap. It was a risk.
Well, yeah, but, you know, people like all your audience and everyone else who supported me, they helped a lot to make me feel like it was worth continuing and it would be okay. And initially, I didn't think it would require any bravery. It didn't strike me as something that would be controversial. I mean, it wasn't until 5-6 months in, I suddenly thought, oh, I am actually standing out here and maybe putting my job at risk and things. But
thing is, I mean, don't be self-deprecating, because you know it's a tough marketplace. Obviously, you're either going to sink or swim in this marketplace. People are not going to buy stuff that is duff, you know,
No,
because
no.
it's because your work really speaks to people.
Yeah, some of these images really mean an awful lot to people, and they help them feel they weren't alone. They convince them to see family again. They stop them, they didn't give the children the jab, for example, because of seeing my work. So, I mean, I suppose compared to a lot of other artwork, it really is special to people. It means a lot, and no one else was producing art, certainly not original art like this, about this time in this way with this message.
I mean, I can't think of any national newspaper cartoonists or illustrators who are actually doing work like this. I literally can't. I mean, I just don't.
Yeah.
I think yours is very gutsy. I mean, look, they don't like you. You get a double whammy here. You go after the whole kind of idea of climate change, and then she's on the ground with all these jabs in her back. That's a double whammy.
Yeah.
I cannot see that in the pages of the Telegraph, the Guardian, the Daily Mail, or any of them. But it should
No.
be. It absolutely should be. This is a comment on where we are at and what's been going on.
Yeah, but that's how they control the Overton window and what people think is acceptable to talk about or not. And even with this, but what it's okay to link together, And I remember several times while I was still at the paper trying to make these connections and say, well, look, they're doing this because it's, these two stories are the same.
Right.
And they'd say, no, don't do that. That's conspiratorial. That's mad. That's not what's happening. So it was a relief really when I could suddenly do my own thing. The other thing, sort of more practically, is once you're not in a paper where everything has to fit the same space and be the same format, you can do any size or shape you want of image. So you suddenly can come up with different ideas that wouldn't have worked.
Wherever you actually, I mean, wherever your imagination goes, presumably, because you no longer have limits. The problem is, and I think anybody who is involved in publishing, they will understand the self-censorship that takes place, because once you work for an organisation, I worked for the Daily Mail for years, and I already knew to censor myself before my copy even got to an editor, and that's what starts.
You do, yeah, and that's what people don't understand. And the other thing I don't have to worry about now is deadlines, which is lovely. And I can still do them in a day when I want to. So I recently did the Pope, and I did that on the day he died and put it out, because sometimes you think I need to get this out because this has just happened. But the lovely thing is sometimes I could spend 10 days on a picture and really put loads of detail in and think about it. And that's something I'd never been able to do if I stayed at the paper, because everything is done in those sort of 6 hours basically before 6 o'clock, and it's got to go.
Well, it's luxury, isn't it, for an artist?
It does feel like luxury.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. And what do we have here? Let's have a look at this. So obviously, and again, detail. Look at that. It's a drone, obviously, and government property. It's crashed to the ground. What's going on in this picture?
He shot it to the ground.
Okay.
And this is called the aim of the game. So it's obviously saying, this is where we should all be trying to get to. Fending for ourselves in nature. Away from mainstream, away from all the propaganda, but obviously he's still being hounded by the government drones. You think maybe this is a nightly occurrence, but he's very chilled out about it. He's just shot another one out of the sky, and he's gone back to his cup of tea, and he's, you can see he's eaten well. He's really looking after himself. There's an interesting technical thing with this that I was happy someone brought up the other day, because these are exit holes, because obviously he would have had to shoot it from the ground upwards. So I made sure these were not entry holes.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes those details maybe no one will notice, and I'm really pleased when someone does.
But the thing is whether anybody notices or not, it. And that's where it's important, isn't it? Exactly that. It's like that, those details. I mean, it is wonderful to be able to come in and actually see them, I have to say. Let me have a look at some of your comments. We've got a lot of people watching now. No one will ever stop me saying what I know to be true. Yes, Mikey, good. And Bob, hoping your take of the Macron slap will include, hold on a second, will include the scam where male victims of violence are not allowed to have a voice. I listen, absolutely take your point. I'm sure Bob does as well, although obviously highly debatable about the couple involved. We don't actually know, do we?
He was slapped by his husband.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
there you go.
traumatic.
That's what you absolutely still domestic violence.
It
Isn't
is.
it? But was it slap? Because some people have said to me it wasn't necessarily slap, but rather than that something was perhaps being wiped off one's mouth. Do you
Maybe
that's a possibility?
shove, would you say, or like it looked a bit like a handoff that you might
Yes.
do in rugby.
Yes.
Not quite a slap.
Yeah, but the point is, Adept, both of us believe absolutely that domestic violence, there is no place for domestic violence, whether it's man on man, woman on man, or whatever, right? Does that make you happy? I hope that makes you happy. Because we do try to please around here, even if a bit controversial. Right, let's have a look. What is it? What's it? Yeah, let's have a look at this one. Let's have a look at this one.
This one, yeah.
I can't believe how quickly this is all zooming past people. We've already done nearly half an hour. Goodness sake, Bob. We were all live. Oh my God, look at that. Look at that. Is that new?
No, that's not new. That's from 2023, that one. But it's great. So I'm really happy with how this window has worked. Because actually, particularly this picture, loads of people who are just passing by out here stop and look at that picture because it really draws their eye. And especially children. All the children stop there, Mummy, because they want to look. Obviously, it's gory.
Yes.
But the other thing about it is, if you don't know the context, you don't know what I'm actually referencing with it, they still get it because it's just a funny cartoon, And I've heard parents explain to the children, "Well, darling, so there's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he's obviously killed all the sheep, but then he's saying we were all lied to because he's such a liar." So they still get it, and then some of them come in.
I mean, that's huge, actually, isn't it? That they can get it without actually any narrative running along with it, just literally from the graphic, from the art itself. And
I love it when I get ideas like that, where I think, well, this works regardless as a funny cartoon. It makes sense, even if people don't actually know what I'm referring to.
And I should say, I used to live in this area. I used to live further down there, and actually, probably we might actually go down there after we finish talking to Bob and touring in here. But this is a very, very nice area. So this is beautiful education for this area, because this is not necessarily the type of education this area would always be, let's say, subjected to.
No.
And so it's wonderful. And this, of course, look at this. What's this? What have we got going on here?
That picture is called Liberty. That was a commission by the Blockheads, the band The Blockheads, Ian Dury and the Blockheads.
Really?
Yeah, so obviously Ian Dury's no longer with us, but the band's still going, and it turns out they're really awake. They understand what's going on, and they wrote this single. It's a fantastic single called Liberty, and asked me if I do the artwork for the single. So this is what I wanted to do something optimistic for this because the song is very upbeat and funky, and it's happy. So I thought, rather than dwelling on the erosion of liberty, I'll sort of give people a picture of, if we cast off all of these things that are trapping us and, throw ourselves back into nature. It's a beautiful thing.
That makes me really happy to hear that that's where they're at now. Because I grew up with the Blockheads.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so it's really wonderful to hear that. It's such a relief, isn't it? Because obviously we've been through a period where artists have just failed to stand up, and not only have they not stood up to be counted, but they've been obviously paid to promote the jab and do various other things completely contrary to actually being an artist.
So many of these, particularly those older bands who were supposed to be anti-authoritarian and stuff and against the system, really let us down. And it turned out they didn't really believe any of it.
No.
So it's nice, those rare gems where they do actually want to push back still. I really appreciate them.
Yeah, me too. But there's so few of them, though.
I don't know, Sonia, I don't know if you've noticed, and lots of people haven't.
What, the defibrillator?
Yeah.
Defibrillator. Let's have a look at this. I did notice it. It was one of the first things I noticed when I came in, actually. So that's interesting. So, wait, no, is this a real one?
Well, I can see there's something inside behind it.
Oh my God.
Why don't you open it? Open the door. You can open the door.
Look at this, people. This is exciting. Can I open it like this? Oh my days. No.
Okay, I'd say, and then.
And look what's behind it. It's Bill Gates. Look at that. Oh my God, that is brilliant. Did you design that?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So I wanted to, this is one of the things I wanted to do just for the exhibition. And it's been great, actually. It's a real piece of theatre because so many people look all around and they don't clock it as if they see it.
Yeah.
They're so used to seeing a defibrillator cabinet now that they just go past.
Yeah.
And then they'll see it at the end and notice. And then you get them to open the door, and you know some of them almost have a heart attack, and you have to say, "Well, there's no actual defibrillator in here, so you have to sort yourself out."
That is a wonderful idea. Again, a real sign of the times, obviously, because as you said, they're springing up everywhere. That is really wonderful. Let me look at some comments here. In a minute, Jess, it is genius. Absolutely, Marcus. Genius stuff. Yeah, we love it. I'm going to go and talk to the gallery owner, if I may. And Bob, then we're going to go downstairs. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, let's do it. I am about to approach. There she is. It's now, let me remember, Sukai. Sukai, look at that. I'm completely hopeless with pronunciations. Lovely to talk to you, Sukai. Why did you agree to put this on, this incredible exhibition?
Well, Bob and Tanya approached me, I don't know, about 3 months ago, with this idea of the exhibition. I didn't really know anything about Bob. I didn't know anything about Bob at all, actually. So I had to go and check him out on Instagram. And at first I thought he was just a cartoonist. So I wasn't quite sure about just having a cartoonist in the gallery, because the gallery has a particular ethos. However, I felt that what Bob was saying through his work kind of resonated with me as a gallery that showcases the work of marginalised groups. So our gallery is a Black-led gallery, and so we showcase the work of contemporary Black artists whose voices are often marginalised. So looking at Bob's work, I felt that his work was talking about and documenting something that perhaps the mainstream didn't want to hear. That's it.
I mean, the thing is, it's wonderful, isn't it, when we find a kind of like an almost common enemy to rail against the system. And that's what it is, isn't it? It's the marginalisation of ideas and people, and in order to be able to create a kind of like false narrative and mainstream of ideas that we're outside of. But this is such a wonderful location.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So this is lasting, I think, for the whole week, isn't it? Until Friday.
The show's opened last Thursday and it closes on May the 30th, which is on Friday. So they need to come down.
Yes, they absolutely do. And it's open, is it 10 till 6 every
10 to
day?
6 every day.
Until Friday, right. And tomorrow, I think you've got a late night opening for signing.
Yeah, Bob, I've got some books and some posters about the exhibition. So these are available for sale. So yeah.
So do you live in the area?
No, I don't. I live in South London. I've just got the gallery in this very posh part of London.
It is a very posh part of London. I used to live a little down the road. Obviously, I can't afford that now. I'm further out now in the burbs, but it is a wonderful part of London. And I think it's particularly good to be able to have such poignant, important messages out of your window. So thank you very much for taking a punt, actually, because the thing is, obviously, there's statements. They're like statements of social decay, political corruption, all the things that are being hidden from us, medical misinformation, just lies.
Absolutely. And I think being in this community as well, you know, right in the centre of central London, that message is amplified to maybe a group of people that might not hear it.
I agree. 100%. I think that's what makes it even more powerful. Thank you very much for being prepared to do it. Thank you for talking to us. Isn't she lovely? Even though I can't pronounce names, everybody knows. You know, all my viewers know I'm absolutely rubbish about it. I fell off the table when I was 18 months old and I always put it down to that. Everybody knows I'm infamous for it. And I want to talk to Tanya Edwards because obviously she does so much great work with Bob. Tanya, you're going to come talk to us?
Yes. Do you want me to talk?
Yeah, let's go find a little corner somewhere. Just anywhere. We can just go over here. Tanya Edwards, of course, comedian in her own right, and somebody again like Bob who has been prepared to stand up and be counted. And we have so few of you people.
I know, too few, but I tell you what, there's lots of people out there that love what we're doing. Oh God, I hate looking at myself.
You know,
and we've had the most wonderful time with everybody coming in. People have travelled all over. They come from Sydney, Stockholm, France, and everybody has these incredible stories about the last few years. And I think that people have felt so isolated that it's a really good opportunity for them to come and meet Bob, have a chat, tell their tales. I had some awful things yesterday. I had a woman, her friend, 43 years old, had his leg amputated at the thigh, and a woman came in today, and it's very interesting because lots of the people coming in, some of them started off on our side, and then others totally believed everything. And a lady I was speaking to earlier, she took the AstraZeneca and she had a series of strokes afterwards. She still subsequently took 2 vaccines because she didn't put the things together. No one had been able to visit her in hospital. She didn't have any support. And so these people, they have their tales to tell.
Right.
And I can see now, especially when you put it somewhere posh, let's just be frank.
Yeah, let's be frank.
It does legitimize.
It does.
So my father, who does not see eye to eye with me, has been in, and he loves champagne and good-looking women, so he enjoyed the preview. But because it's in a nice part of town, I think it's interesting. The messaging is really effective here. There was a local chap that came in, teeny tiny shorts, lovely dog, and he had a look around and he said, "Oh, how strange, this is my wife's point of view." And he was very relaxed about it because he was so loaded. And he's going to come back with her. And I
To be relaxed.
yeah. And so those people are quite nice because they understand once it's on the walls that maybe their wife isn't as mad as they thought she was.
Right. It's a bit like seeing it in their favourite newspaper, isn't it? I suppose in some respects.
And I think we shouldn't, I recently, I think that the mainstream are trying to now pitch themselves as people that are defending free speech or, especially, I don't know if you saw the recent cancellation, which was obviously a nonsense because it's just PR, isn't it?
What was that?
It was a Telegraph positioning itself as, oh, our cartoon exhibition got cancelled with no sense of irony. Yeah, and it's obviously because they want to take back ownership of this alternative narrative idea from within the mainstream. And I don't think we should let them. So
No,
to do our
absolutely
own
not.
independently. And also Sukai has been so fantastic, but obviously we've hired out his space, which is beautiful. And I've been to her other exhibitions here and they're always brilliant. She's a fantastic curator. But doing something independently, it's quite bold. And he's, it looks good, doesn't it?
It looks fantastic. Just so tell people what your role is.
I just like things to happen.
So you're a person who makes things happen, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're that
So
person.
we did the show, obviously, we were in Apocalypse together and then we got cancelled and we were told by the Free Speech Union, oh, you're going so close up my nose, I'm going to cry.
Okay.
And finally just at a distance and make it see it. Anyway, so I had a very good night last night. It was fantastic Australians that took time doing the buying paintings and I said I won't drink the cocktails and then I did. Anyway, we must write about that. But so we wrote Apocalypse together and then it got cancelled and the Free Speech Union said, oh, this is an open shut case at the Newcastle Paris, we've got to sue them. But it's very negative, boring, tedious waste of time to sue people, even if you're trying to cost money. It's better to draw, isn't it? So Bob drew instead, and then we did the book because that was more creative. And that was terrific fun. I don't know if you know Media. She's an amazing artist and she's self-published. So she gave us lots of advice. My friend Brendan, he gave us some advice in the book. So that was terrific. But obviously because we couldn't be in bookshops for the book because we had to edit it out. And Bob's fans they want to see the pictures that they like, but they want to see the Waterstones version of current events.
No.
And even in the distribution of books, the distributor can also tell you what to include and not include. So we decided to do that independently, but obviously, if you're not in a bookshop, you have to do book signings. And you traipse around the country and meet fantastic people, and I love talking Renancy to loads of interesting types. But Bob has to draw, and so we couldn't do too many of those. So it's nice to have a space so people can come and get their book in, albeit for 10 days. Obviously, everyone can get things online, but I like real life. So once we did the book, we thought, let's do an exhibition now.
Okay,
So I'm getting him to talk less and less, so I can talk more and more.
No, I think it's a wonderful idea, and I like the idea of how, because people obviously do feel isolated, and we've seen that, haven't we? Over the last 5 years, people have felt increasingly isolated, and people have had this awakening, and that's very isolating when you have an awakening anyway. It's scary if
People
anything.
have been absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
They're so emotional.
Yeah.
I've had people in here crying about that.
Really?
Yeah. So that's been curious. But also I really believe in real life. The pictures are beautiful online, but you can't really understand
No.
it. You see their size, their shape. They're obviously we've got wonderful frames. And their frames at Campbell's they were sensational. And but to actually be in a space chatting, out in fresh air, it's better than just sitting at home living this virtual reality life. It's not my bag. I like to do live things. God, I look shocked.
You look fabulous. You look absolutely fabulous. We've got some people in front of me. I wonder if anybody would like to talk to our audience. Anybody like to talk to our audience?
Because you were in the other day and you're back. So come and say hello.
Come and say hello. My show is called Wake Up. We currently have, nearly 1,500 people watching us live. And hello, what's your name?
Roger.
Roger. And Roger, why are you here?
I've been following Bob's work for the last few years since everything happened. And I have, along with you and so many others like Tanya, I appreciate their courage for what they've done for us who at first didn't seem to have a voice. And their courage for standing up and sticking to their principles. And yeah, so I just came by when I heard I met him, and it's just a fantastic chance to have here in person this space where people can come and meet and discuss and exchange.
Like minds.
Like-minded people can come and exchange their stories and also bring people that may not be on the same page and have their eyes shut.
Yeah. I mean, I go back again, literally, obviously, shot from window. It's so fantastic. When I came down and I was filming, because I'm doing a behind the scenes video, and when I came down, I was like, that just looks amazing, just looking out onto the street. It's so powerful. So yes, thank you so much. Bob, should we go downstairs? Let's do it. I cannot believe how quickly this is all zooming fast. How are you all? From the heart is, and so quickly, people, I don't know if you try his art did feel like they weren't alone. They were clever, easy to share. You know that. And to bless you. Go, fam. I'm going. Brilliant London lady. Oh, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Oh, wait. Oh. Look, this, of course. Wait. That's funny, because isn't that the Trump shooting?
Trump photo with him in it instead, yeah. So.
Oh, wow, Bob, come on, explain it. Why did you choose to do that?
Obviously, everyone was focused on that image, and I didn't really want to do something about the Trump assassination directly, and I thought, what's the way of addressing this? Because whenever you have an image that everyone in the world suddenly knows and is sharing, it's always fun to play with that. So I was trying to work out a way of doing it, and I thought, oh, it might be fun to flip it and put Biden in there instead. And so this is basically, you're kind of taking a similar idea. He's not, rather than being shot at, if you think Trump was shot at, whatever, he shot himself. And then you've got Hillary Clinton and Michelle Obama and Barack Obama desperately trying to get him off the stage in the same way you might if there'd been an assassination attempt. So this one's called When You Need to.
I mean, that's just brilliant. That is literally just brilliant. The thing is that I think what I love about your art, not only is it a statement of our times, but it's kind of like it's very accessible. Yes. In terms of like pop culture, you know, I think people would find it very easy to understand what it is you're saying for the most part. You don't necessarily need to be particularly well read.
Like I was saying before, it's nice when you can do those ones that bridge the gap a bit.
Yes.
You don't need to be in our movement to necessarily find it funny and get it. Yes. Those are important. Yes. You then might get that's how you get a new audience who will then go back and look at the other stuff.
Yes.
It might open their eyes a bit.
And again, in detail, I see that Big Mike has stubble here.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, obviously detail, and this I've definitely not seen before. I don't think I've seen that. Is that? But
that was from 2022, and that was near the very beginning of the Ukraine
conflict. Powerful. And oh my gosh, now this is obviously, is this like the first
sketch I did, yeah, in preparation for my big bloodbath.
One of your, probably, I think, one of your most powerful.
It was the most fun to do.
Was it really? You managed to get a lot out there, did you? And yeah. And no, that wasn't the one that you got accused of blood libel. There was another one when you were accused.
That was a later one.
That's right.
Does have
and then people who claim to be about freedom of speech were reporting you to the Metropolitan Police, I seem to remember online.
Yes,
that was taking place.
Fun.
Yeah.
So this was a sketch I did. It was pretty similar to the finished picture. There are a few characters that I swapped around. So this Ben Shapiro's in this. He didn't actually make the final cut.
Oh.
So that people find this stuff interesting because it's kind of my thought process.
Yes.
This is the same as Netanyahu with a Hamas terrorist, and he's pleasuring him. And the Big Mike, of course, on the left, getting into the pool. So yeah, there's quite a few of these.
Here's another one actually, and of course. Oh, there we go. He's about to sign a book. You can see him in action. There you go. And tomorrow night, as I say, if you come down to the gallery, it's open. Is it open until 9 p.m. tomorrow night? Open until 9 p.m. tomorrow night for book signings. Oh, just put my finger over there. Let me take some comments.
Excuse me.
What?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What have I got here? Ben Shapiro. What? No, that can't be true. So much in that picture. What are your faces, Lisa? Your favourite, Lisa? Is it the infamous Netanyahu one? Because is it down? Have you got it here? Have you got?
That's sold. That painting.
Oh, it's sold, right? Okay. Well, let's go down. Let's go down the stairs. There's more. There's so much more. And Bob, can you believe we've done 45 minutes in here? The show is nearly over already. See?
Yeah, I know. Let's work.
Well, this is what happens when you're looking at interesting stuff. Time just flies. This is absolutely, I think, again, genius, Bob. Really, it's. Do you know I think I remember seeing this, and it has a whereas Wally kind of flavour.
Where's Wally? Yeah, idea, and it was really good fun to do again. Again, this is something I probably wouldn't have time to do at the paper, so you can really indulge and put loads of detail in. And the interesting thing about this is one of them is it's the first time I ever did blackface Trudeau. I've just given it away, so I told everyone where he is, and then Wally is also in it as well.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Look,
Yeah.
Listen, of course, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say too much because we're live streaming on YouTube, but I think it's fairly self-explanatory, Pete. Again, this one.
This is a very famous one.
Yes, this is a very famous one.
Yes, shared all the time and pops up in various places. Amnesty one, because it hasn't gone away.
So there are some that get shared more than others still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Some of them really take on a life of their own, really, and they just keep coming back and they never stop being relevant. And I'm always seeing them popping up again, which is really nice. I can't always predict which ones will do that.
It's so wonderful. This must, I mean, because the thing is what this is this is a legacy you're leaving your children, Bob. And I know the thing is you're so inspired by your children, and a lot of the things that you stand up for and the way you were prepared to stand up to be counted is absolutely inspired by at least one of your children, isn't it?
Yeah, no, all three of them.
All three
really,
of them,
you know,
yeah, exactly.
I don't want to have to leave them in a world that's like where these people have won, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah. You know, I was talking about literally from kind of like a medical perspective, but I'm very careful what I'm saying because sorry, YouTube and all that.
Yeah.
Again, and again, I think this is a real statement of our times. Absolutely, it is, because what this is clearly saying, which we all know, is that women have been erased. So this man, that's what have I interpreted that correctly?
Yes.
So this man, of course, in woman face, all dressed up, and he's literally obviously painting an empty chair because there's no woman there. And I think, again, Bob, it's a real statement of our times. These are powerful images.
Yeah, and this is one that I love it when I come up with an idea that's just an image and requires no words. For me, that's the holy grail. It doesn't always work, and a lot of the time you have a word-based gag that's too good not to do.
Yeah.
I always love it when I think of something that like this, where there's no words, and obviously it means it can just translate, it can be shared anywhere and people will get what it means.
It is wonderful. And I'm looking at this image over here because the thing is, this is the dim and dimmer. Bob, this is a new one. And was this inspired by them finally admitting that they're dimming the sun? Is that what it was about?
It was just a few weeks ago, wasn't it, when they announced they were going to start, just now, about to start putting chemicals in the sky to dim the sun.
Like it's not been happening for decades.
It's been happening for obviously before for years. So no, that was nice because I thought, oh, here's an opportunity where there's a mainstream story that obviously relates to something we talk about. Because I don't tend to focus on domestic politics very much now. I try to think of stuff that has a global appeal because I have a global audience. But occasionally I think, oh, I will do this one. And also, I don't tend to do a lot of cultural references, you know, film posters, which I used to do a lot at the paper. But I did think, oh, I remember the poster for Dumb and Dumber, and then I looked it up and I thought it's such a great image. And actually, the actors, Jim Carrey and I can't remember the other one, do actually look quite a lot like Kirsten Miliband. So.
Oh, you immediately know it's from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
You immediately, that was what I'm talking about, like in terms of popular references, how you can pick those things up.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it, because your work is multi-layered. Reminds me a bit like The Simpsons. You know how anybody can watch The Simpsons and they all often get something different from it. And the deeper your knowledge, you know that they're telling us this is going to happen. And that's what your work reminds me of a lot of the time, that you can look at it and you instantly get a message, but then there are also levels and layers to it.
Yeah, there are other levels to a lot of them, if people look closer. Yeah.
Right, what have we got over here? How are you all doing, you beautiful people? It's brilliant. I know Lenticular Cloud. He's a genius. He absolutely is. And
Here's the Pope. You better look at the Pope.
oh, look. Look at that.
And now this is fantastic. What I did this, I've got pentagrams in the wheels. Nice. You probably put them around the edge, and they carve all these to match the way.
Oh, you have to see. This is the attention to detail that I absolutely adore. Look at that. It's actually around. Look at that. The pentagram is all around the frame. Look at that. That is stunning. I love that sort of stuff.
Very cool.
Just cool, super cool. And again, these are all really stark images, aren't they? But you're in no doubt at all what you're looking at and what it is that is about. And I particularly like this sniff one because obviously, as we all know, Biden, major sniffer of children, particularly their hair. And again, really captured. I mean, Bob, is there ever a moment, like, for example, I think this is a perfect example, Bill Gates, right? Obviously with breasts and money bags and everything. And there's a lot about that imagery, which is just like, oh my God, how dare I, to a certain degree. Do you ever have those moments now, even when you're working for yourself? Do you like sit there and chuckle and imagine the reaction from people?
I do chuckle. If I chuckle as I'm drawing them, then I know they're going to be really popular.
Yeah.
'Cause it's quite rare, obviously. And that will be because it's so the one of Charles with the sausage fingers and the Jimmy Savile in his groin. That was just so outrageous. I kept laughing as I was doing it because I could predict the reaction to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's really interesting because my daughter and I, we hardly ever kind of socialise or anything, but she actually came to your show with me and loved it.
Yeah, great.
And so again, I thought it was a really wonderful bonding moment for us because suddenly she'd entered my world and what it meant to me and all these things.
Yeah.
And a brilliant show, absolutely brilliant show, of course, Artpocalypse.
Artpocalypse. Yeah.
And it's one of those shows that if, I mean, is it available online?
Yeah, it is. At the moment, it's on my Twitter. It's pinned to my Twitter profile.
Right.
It's free to watch. The whole thing's on there. I'm going to try and put it on some other platforms because I did have a website for it, but that's gone down. So I am going to try and put it in some more places.
Right.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend anybody to watch it because it's one of those ones that will make you laugh and it will make you cry. And it's very touching, but it is also really insightful about the period that we've lived through. And there are so few truth tellers who have been able to accurately reveal what has been taking place. But Bob, you are one of those. And the funny thing is, Bob, I think I've described it before. I always find you much easier in real life than online because online you can come over quite ferocious.
I do, don't I?
Do you know that about yourself?
Yeah, I know. People are always telling me that. I think both in terms of some of the cartoons I do and also I can be quite aggressive when I tweet and things. But I'm not like that. As you say, I'm quite a gentle, friendly person. And but that's because I channel it all into the work, you see.
Yeah.
So I don't need to be aggressive.
Yeah. I'm not criticising you for it. I think because the thing is, you still don't lose your crap with people, right? You do, for the most part, you don't.
No.
You just kind of like let people know where you stand and what the situation is.
Yeah, I mean, if I think something needs pointing out, or if someone needs calling out on something, I will do it. But I've never really been that kind of person. You know, I'm a pretty calm, reasonable sort of chap.
Believe him.
Yeah.
Believe him. Would you buy Big Pharma from this man? This is again, Bob. You know what this reminds me of? I still have my T-shirt where the mother is protecting the child.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a little bit of.
It's like yes. I mean, that one's obviously designed to be a bit frightening, obviously, because at that time the stand firm, I wanted to scare people, I suppose, with that.
Yeah.
This is a rare instance where I've set out to just create something that's very beautiful and optimistic, which I don't always do. But you know, sometimes, Sonia, I really need to take a break from the darkness.
Yeah.
And do something that is just beautiful and uplifting.
So is this
to read
at the end of the tunnel?
This is sort of, I mean, so you could interpret this as obviously it's sad because we know a lot of children are dying, but equally the other side of it is we're all moving towards the light. We're all kind of feeling optimistic. We all kind of should think there is a force for good in the universe, whether you want to call it God or not, and we're on the right side, moving towards it, you know, and we're being guided in the right way.
I love it.
That's what it's about.
It's funny. You see, the thing is, and I cannot recommend this exhibition enough. You must get here if you're able to. Please do. Honestly, you won't regret it because it is actually really wonderful to be here. There's it feels quite profound actually, Bob, to be all in the middle of something that you already recognise and you know what it stands for.
It's really special for me to have the actual work on display because they've never been shown before, the originals. And obviously they're a big part of my life, you know, and I have memories of each one, and I'm kind of feel attached to each one, a bit like my babies in some way. That's not too cheesy.
No, of course not.
And it's really nice for people to be able to come and see it, because not only, on the one hand, I'm sort of one of the only artists who's had this message, but aside from that, most people who do this kind of work, whatever their stance, they don't work traditionally anymore. It's all digital.
Yeah.
And it's so important for
Yeah.
me. It's really important philosophically, I suppose, that I create something real and tangible that people can actually hold and put on their walls.
Oh, that's quite a statement of our age as well, isn't it, though?
It
Because
really is,
obviously
yeah.
so much is, as you say, it's digital art, whereas this is literally, you're right there at the beginning with the pencil and drafting it all out and sketching it all out, and then the paint. So yeah, that in its, oh my God, that in itself is quite profound, actually, quite a profound statement, isn't it?
I think we're losing it. You know, we are really losing the handcrafted things that have evidence that a human being actually made this.
Yeah.
And people are so swept up in this AI image generation. I know I was bang on about it, but I really think it's awful.
Are you concerned?
I am really concerned.
Like in terms of them stealing your art, or in terms of them taking over?
Not really that. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm threatened, because I think it's absolute shite, most of it. And I don't think it can't do irony, and it can't really do satire, even though people are constantly trying to get it to do cartoony type pictures. They're rubbish. But what I notice is people don't care. They don't, they just want content. They just ask it to make them an image. And they've obviously they've asked for a picture of, you know, Keir Starmer doing something dressed as a communist or whatever it is. And they don't then look at it and go, oh, actually, that doesn't look like him, or it's a bit rubbish. They don't care. They just post it. And I think what this is doing is trying to kind of lower people's appreciation for images, so that, and I think it's more sinister than that. They're probably going to, one of the interesting things is if they make everyone behave like they're a satirist. Okay, so like it makes it much easier for them to ban all of this outright and come after free speech and expression and criticism of authority, when you only have specific people whose job it is, you know, like me, who earns a living from being a satirist, being a cartoonist, and skewering authority with skill and experience in the right way. Very hard for them to come after you. I know they tried, but you know, I've kept going. If you introduce the idea that anyone can be a satirist, anyone can churn out social commentary pictures every day with AI, makes it a lot easier for them to just shut the whole thing down. And I bet you AI will start to produce more and more controversial or offensive, unfunny images. And again, people won't notice. That's what I'm worried about.
That's a really good point. I saw an interview with CBS, and I can't remember his name. I think his name might be Tony Hinton, but he's often known as the godfather of AI. And he was talking, and he was a couple of years ago, he'd had this outlook, which wasn't necessarily so negative, when he'd done an interview with CBS. And now he's done a more recent one. And he said, essentially, if you're a paralegal, if you work in a call center, if you're a secretary, if you're doing any of those kind of jobs, you're done. It's over.
Yeah.
And the interviewer said, and does that kind of like apply to teachers and lawyers and journalists? And actually what was interesting is he said, not to investigative journalists, because you need a sense of moral outrage and to be motivated to do it. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, but it is interesting, because as far as I can see, there aren't many of those left.
No, exactly.
Not in the mainstream.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. Although we were rejoicing on our show, actually, I have to say. But no, I take your point. And actually, that is interesting, isn't it? Is that it's almost like it's not only making us essentially kind of like less creative, but it's dumbing us down.
Yeah,
as well, isn't it? Because as you say, it's like if you look at a perfect example, I'm just going to take you over here, right? Kill Bill. You are in no doubt whatsoever who you're looking at. No doubt whatsoever, right? So we obviously all know that this is Rodney Sama that we're looking at here. Whereas you're absolutely right, in AI, it doesn't even necessarily need to really look like him, does it?
No, it doesn't. And yeah, that's another film poster reference, obviously, that I couldn't resist to get the assistant through. must have been around the time he made the alleged slip about release the sausages. Remember that? So put a reference to that in there. And I always enjoy, you know, obviously he looks pretty sexy there in his yellow.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? He's,
Yeah.
he's too sexy for his yellow suit. Yeah, you've been very kind. I mean, absolutely kind. But again, look, here's some more initial sketches of what we've just seen. Obviously, the claptrap.
Yeah, that's a sketch for claptrap.
Yeah.
And this was a sketch for the one we were talking about.
This is lovely. And you know what this reminds me of, Bob, which is another favourite of mine, and that was the old couple on the
Oh yes.
right. It kind of reminds me of that, isn't
that was
it?
a very early one in 2020. Yeah.
And wasn't that about please help me? It was about
never surrender your right to be with the people you love.
That's it, exactly that. And it's like this, isn't it? It's very idyllic, isn't it? He's there. He don't want to be troubled necessarily by modern life in any way and globalist and everything. It's the same kind of feel to it. I think you're really good at stripping back, right? And kind of like just revealing the heart of a message.
Yeah, I also really love doing some that don't feature any politicians.
Yeah.
Every now and again, there's someone like us or an ordinary person. And that couple on the hill was, I suppose you could call it, that was sort of my breakthrough cartoon that kind of really got loose.
Was it? Was that your breakthrough?
In 2020, it suddenly started to get a bigger audience, and that means so much to people, that cartoon. There are people who, you know, saw their parents again after seeing that cartoon, or, you know, rescued their marriage. They tell me, like I had someone say they were going to kill themselves, but then they saw that cartoon. Really powerful stuff. What was interesting was it also made people really furious, even though it was such a beautiful image with, you would think, a statement everyone would agree with. People got really cross.
Yeah.
Said, no, you do surrender your right to see your family if it's going to kill them. And they sort of completely missed the point. You're kind of going, well, no, because obviously you've always been able to agree not to see your family, haven't you? You don't need the government to forbid it. That's the point, I think.
Right.
But people forgot.
Yeah.
It was like if the government didn't ban them, they'd sort of pull themselves out of the window and go and start kissing their grandma. Like they have no self-control whatsoever.
Yeah.
Really strange.
What a sad period we've come through. I mean, I come from quite a radical family. I grew up, my family were hippies, basically. My mum was a medium, quite a radical family. So I was never taught to conform. So obviously it's really helped me a huge amount. I mean, because the moment that you conform, you're pretty much lost now. And we see it all the time. And I think absolutely brilliant about your work, and I'm never going to tire of saying this, is I think that it's such a beautiful statement. It's such a profound, impacting statement of the period that we're living through. And honestly, we just don't get that so often. Again, going back to what we said before, and that is it has to go through editors and the self-censorship. But this is as pure as it gets, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, just to say, I mean, I'm so grateful to Sukai for letting us have a beautiful space here. And,
Brilliant.
And it's also just, you know, art and satire. The whole point used to be it was dangerous, it was controversial, you know, and we really lost that. And I think it's something else Sukai can appreciate. It's like, well, the whole point of art was meant to be it was challenging and it offered a different point of view, or it was shocking, it surprised people. And we're really at risk of losing that now, because people are they've been dumbed down, and they want everything to be safe, and they're just used to having the same natural sort of, you know, I'm kind of straddling the fence, I guess, in the art world, because the way my work is published in
dying.
They're
absolutely dying. I mean, just like all across the board, legacy media, because they've lost trust.
Sky News is
absolutely. ITV, absolutely.
I know. I've still got some champagne, so we'll raise a glass to that.
Sounds fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Although I'm going to head out because I'm going to take people onto Edgware Road.
Oh, okay then.
Although I would very much like some champagne, but you know what? I'm going to toast Bob anyway. Bob, thank you so much for giving us this tour. It's actually phenomenal. Let's have a look at some quotes here, comments here. Great idea, brilliantly done. This is a keeper. Indeed, you actually get this first-hand look at Bob's incredible exhibition. I remember when soul mining came out. I don't know what soul mining is. Art captured just like hip hop was. That's an interesting one, lenticular cloud, and I'm sure Bob, you can understand where that's coming from. I mean, I was a music journalist. My speciality was hip hop.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
toured with all the greats, Public Enemy and NWA
Oh, yeah, wow.
and Notorious Big, all of them.
Okay.
It was probably hip hop before they started to bring in, you know, prostitutes and strippers.
Yeah, exactly. When they actually had interesting things
exactly.
to say. Yeah.
Exactly. And exactly that lenticular cloud is exactly that. And it's so important what Bob does because, and the other thing, of course, is that I think that you're an inspiration because you've shown people that you can go through that whole process of, because you lost you have 3 children, you have a wife, you have a home, all these things that you have to keep moving, and it's pulled from underneath you. You know, because you dared to speak out. And I know what happened. I remember the whole Rachel Clark and everything and all that kind of stuff. But it must have been initially scary, but pay dividends.
It was scary. And you just think, well, all I've got to rely on is my skill and my message. And my wisdom is enough. Yeah. And I think, but also the power of creativity is such a powerful thing, and people need to remember that, and it's why they're trying to suppress it and destroy it. And I would say, even if you don't think you can reach loads of people, and people need to keep making things with your hands in traditional ways. Just make stuff because it's powerful. It creates energy.
Absolutely it does. Right, we're gonna head up. I'm gonna take you out onto take you around where I used to live. Stick around. I wasn't actually planning to do this, but why not? Hey, that's the great thing, isn't it? When you're in control of your own work, your own destiny, you can do whatever you want. Exactly. And I so love that and really respect and appreciate that. But I think this is absolutely phenomenal. Please, if you're able, please make it here by Friday at the very, very latest. I mean, presumably there's already the next exhibition booked in, so there's no chance of extension anyway. There's some more here. This is great. And again, I'm going to show you this without comment, but you can see what's taking place here. And this one as well. I think I remember this one. This is just so genius. Oh, Bob, you must be so proud of yourself.
Well, I'm really thrilled that we managed to get all the work up in here, and it's gone really well. People have loved it, and I'm really pleased. And I love meeting everyone. So please do come, and even if you just want to have a chat, I'd love to see you. Yeah.
Wonderful. Right, we're going to head out into London now. Bob, thank you so much. I'm going to grab my bag.
So much.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having us. Anybody else want to say anything else before we leave? I'm heading out into.
Bob.
And
He was wonderful.
who was wonderful?
Bob was wonderful.
Have you been watching?
You mean as well?
Oh no.
I interviewed him.
Oh, you interviewed Bob. So wait, you're a podcaster.
Many times.
Oh, I see.
Well,
Well, do you want to say hello to my audience?
why not?
What's your name, Alexander?
Yes.
This is Alexander. And Alexander is, I've just been told, a man of many talents.
Some.
Well, that's enough. That's enough. Why are you here?
I'm here to interview Bob and his great works.
For a podcast?
I have some YouTube pages that I work with. I interview people like Public Enemy and
Me too.
Pentagram. Oh, you know Chuck Lee?
Yeah, very well.
Okay, great.
Yes.
It's a small club, but we are in it.
Yes, we are in this particular one.
Yeah.
Yes, Public Enemy.
Public
Absolutely
Enemy, great
wonderful.
band.
When I first interviewed him a very, very long time ago, I
Yeah.
used to be a hip hop journalist.
Were you?
Yeah.
Goodness,
And
great.
I know. And quite unusual for a white woman from the Cotswolds. I appreciate.
Yeah.
But I first interviewed Public Enemy at Brixton Academy,
Right.
and they didn't want to be interviewed by me because
I know why.
yeah, exactly. Because they were like, there's absolutely no way that she can
Yeah.
play what we're about. And so Flavor had this idea
Flavor Flav.
that if I put on the purple wig that they had back
You had a purple wig.
I could interview them. So I put on a purple wig and interviewed them. And after that, they invited me to Long Island. I toured with them. I interviewed them.
Goodness, great.
Yeah. See, even white people can be cool.
With
So
wigs. With
wigs.
wigs.
Yeah. No, hip hop was very much a spiritual home for me because I come from Welsh Irish heritage. There's a lot of commonality.
Yeah, sure.
You know,
Everlast, for example.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Yes. Yeah,
You represented that Irish.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was one of the last journalists to interview the Notorious Big before he was murdered.
Who? B.I.G.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Wow.
yeah, been there, seen it, done it.
Hopefully it wasn't because of you that killed him.
No, certainly not. Absolutely not.
Yes, right.
No,
And I knock him off now.
scrap that from the record. That didn't happen. Listen, lovely to.
That was wonderful.
And where can we find your interview?
Under your
Bob?
skin.
Under your skin.
Yeah.
And it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
Let's check it out, people, under your skin.
And check it, it'll be on Bob's page as well.
If-
I'll share it, I'll
Yeah, feel free to send me the link and I'll give it a little plug on the show and we'll
Wonderful.
get it, we'll get to watch it.
We'll slice it up for you.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Right, I am heading out now. I think I've got my
Give me
bag.
your context because it's interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
feel free to
Yeah.
give my, because
Yeah.
The last thing to say is just to remind everyone that the show does end tomorrow. On Friday. On Friday. And we have a late night viewing on Thursday tomorrow. So come on down to Casilda, which is at 32 Connaught Street, London, W2 2AF.
listen to the boss, do listen to the boss. But thank you so much for taking a punt on this. Absolutely
No,
wonderful.
pleasure,
Really,
pleasure.
really wonderful. Lovely to see
Very
you
good.
all. I am going out into the streets and taking my viewers with me because why not? We can do that, can't we? We are creatives. Lovely to see you all. Wonderful. Say goodbye, everybody. Take care. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Right. Okay, peeps. How are you? How are you all doing? Let's go out into London. Fab! Yes, absolutely. And right, where are we going to go? This is so. Well, let's just have a little natter, right? Do you like it, Adette? Do you like it? Good. Excellent. So, right. First of all, can you see all those flags? Can you see all the flags? I suppose they've had some kind of. What was it recently that we were celebrating? I can't remember what it was, but anyway, that's why they've got all the flags there. Let me just check I've got everything. So I don't want to leave without making sure I've got everything. Oh, hold on. I think I have forgotten my pad. Hold on a second. We don't want to do that. I love doing things like this on the hoof. I really should probably do it more often, to be perfectly frank with you. Hold on. Let me just see if I've forgotten my pad at the gallery. Hold on 2 seconds. Right. I'm briefly back. I'm looking for a notepad that I dropped on the ground. There it is. There you go. Wonderful. Thank you. People love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Right. So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little chat. Well, so I used to live in this area when I was in my 20s, and we actually lived in Crawford Place. And Crawford Place is just off of Marble Arch. So that's where we're close to now. We're close to Marble Arch. And in a minute, I'm going to take you down the Edgware Road. And the Edgware Road is basically like being in Saudi Arabia these days. And in fact, it kind of was when I lived here, to be perfectly honest with you. But we can check it out together. And why ever not? Is there any good, interesting news that has come up that I have missed in this time that I've been live? What's going on? Pad or wings or always? Got you. I see. Funny. Funny, funny, funny. Right. So, hello. Hello, hello, hello. It's actually really nice weather in central London, which is gorgeous. This is an incredibly wealthy area. So this is W2, which leads into W1. Now, that's the city of Westminster. The city of Westminster is one of the richest boroughs. We have a little baba there. Is one of the richest boroughs in the country, right? And it's phenomenally expensive to live here. You are not going to be able to get a property for anything less than about £2-3 million. That would be the smallest of the kind. That would be the smallest. It probably won't even be a house. And you can see they're very kind of elegant houses along here. I think they're Georgian, actually. I think this kind of area is probably quite a lot of Georgian. We're just going to come up to Edgware Road in a minute, and you'll be able to see the difference between this part and straight out onto Edgware Road. And it's changed a lot over. So when I lived here was, crikey, must have been now about 30 years ago, which is absolutely insane. I cannot believe that. That's nuts. And right, just coming up to Edgware Road and just having a look around, see what's going on. But yeah, I do really actually enjoy coming out like this. As a journalist, where I'm probably in my element is when I'm out on the street, out chasing some politician or another. That's when I get
the greatest high. That absolutely is. And wonder if I can grab anybody to talk to at the moment. There's some shish here. There you go. Oops. Smells kind of nice in here. Right, so now we are heading on to Edgware Road. Very, very busy road. I should be careful because no doubt I probably shouldn't be crossing this road at this moment in time. But it's the kind of girl I am. So this is Edgware Road. And as I say, Edgware Road is like being in Saudi Arabia. And when I used to live here, it was very difficult when we went out at night. I mean, they talk now about young women having difficulty when they go out in London and being followed and everything. But let me assure you, when I was in my 20s and lived along Edgware Road, it was horrendous. And there'd be lots of Arabic men who would come in for the summer, and they were extremely strictly religious, but they'd come in and live along this patch here because it's got the casinos and prostitutes, and they used to confuse me and my friends with being prostitutes just because we were British women and out at night or whatever. What's that? I would not waste my one chance of life stuck living on Edgware Road. I see. I was born in Gloucestershire in the Cotswolds. I moved to London when I was 18. And I love it. It's my home. And I love the fact that I don't do it very often, but I used to love the fact that I could go out at 3 o'clock in the morning and there'd be, shops open of all different cultures. I love that as well. And we're just heading down towards Marble Arch. Marble Arch, obviously, is where Hyde Park is. We're going to be back again there for a live stream on the 21st of June. And that is where we're going to be doing the chemtrail exhibition from. Oh, I meant to get Bob to talk, because Paradigms, which we didn't mention, if you look at Paradigms, which is the name of the exhibition, it's actually chemtrails is the promotional shot that he's done. Yeah, let's cross over. Stay with me until I go into public transport. Are you still there, everybody? How you doing? How are you doing? I used to hear the orchestra rehearsing. Paradigms. Yes, that's what it's called, lenticular cloud. Absolutely, that's what it is. Oh, let this was kind of busy for later. There you go. And yeah. Ooh, food smells good. I'm hungry. Right, I will be back as normal on Friday. Thank you for being with us tonight. Absolutely lovely to see Bob and Tanya and the exhibition. And apologies if some of the quality hasn't been fabulous. I always do my best, I am. I always give it my best shot. I really do. So we're now at Marble Arch, Edgware Road. I'm going to cross over. I'm going to get some London transport, get myself back home, and have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful evening. I will. Woo, thank you. Have you worked up an appetite? I've worked up an appetite. I'm definitely ready to eat. 100%. Yes, I am. And I was just going to look to see if I could just grab somebody, see if they wanted to talk to me. And also, of course, what you have in Edgware Road is women who are clothed head to foot. And you know what? I try not to judge people because I'm sure that some of these women look at people like, Bianca Censori, Kanye West and as wife and Kim Kardashian and women like that and think that they're more oppressed. But I'm not sure. Lord Randolph Churchill, statesman, lived here. Can you see that? There you go. There you go. Noisy! Right, beautiful people. I will see you. Chippy, what's that? Chippy Sonia. Oh my God, remember? I will see you on Friday. I'm just coming up to Hyde Park now. Marble Arch, Hyde Park Corner. I don't care what anybody says, right? I love London. I absolutely love London. People want to try and do it down. Oftentimes, the people who are online saying London has fallen don't even live here. And by the way, I think one of the funniest things that is actually happening online, I just want to stop and comment on this actually.
one of the funniest things that is happening online is the whole kind of patriot movement. Well, actually, the reality is a lot of that patriot movement on social media is being run by Asians from overseas, and what they're doing is they are weaponizing people's racism against them. I mean, it's almost hilarious if it wasn't so cynical, but that is the reality. A lot of those patriot accounts that claim to be patriotic on Twitter, they're not at all. They are based in different places, Lahore, the Philippines, and it's almost like call centers now. These patriot accounts are almost like call centers. John says, you won't see me, but Adette, you love London? No, I think it's London Lady. I stayed in East Ham for 8 years. I love London. Need to get rid of Khan, however. Stephen, I think you would find that many people would agree with you. Many people, including me. So there you go, darlings, people. I am, it's now, what time is it? 18:20. I'm going to head off, grab a bus maybe, and I will be with you on Friday morning. Thank you for being here with us. Really appreciate it. Lots of love to you. Love you. And thanks, Girl on Fire. Yes, can't stand Khan. No, awful human being. But London is still a fantastic city. And don't let people do it down, because it is our capital city, right? And we should take pride in it. And it's half the time, it's not anything what they say about London at all. I can assure you that. Thanks, Merv. Steve was born in North London. You're welcome, Marcuson. You're absolutely welcome. Beautiful people. I steer clear of anything screaming patriotism. I hear you, Paul. Absolutely. Beautiful people. I will see you on Friday. Take excellent care of yourself. Lots of love. Have a brilliant evening.